Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are back. Back again. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We're back. All right, I'm going to hit play. We're hitting play. And we're going to get some videos playing. We got some feeds going. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one tonight. Get ready. Trying to get all the feeds going here. Oh, look at that. We already got something. Right off the bat. Let's just go to this right off the bat.
He's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
That's the time we went camping that one time, me and Vector. We had a box of VHS and we were playing them, and the idea was anybody could put in a different VHS and we would watch it. Oh boy, hold on. Oh. Why are we not getting... There we go. This guy's hilarious. Davey.
It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. Dave Reaver is a resident from the Fort Worth area. He is someone that has a story to tell us here at Boswell this afternoon. For those of you who may not be familiar with his story, he was serving
for hundreds of years here at the top of the world. That civilization flourished, rich in its unique traditions and exotic culture. Only in this century has the veil of secrecy and mystery been lifted.
The least among his faithful, and an unworthy man despised by many. He bestowed upon my heart the gift of limitless faith, so that in these final...
Oh, that's pathetic. Hi, y'all. I am where I want to be today. Isn't that nice? Because sometimes you're forced into situations that you have to contend with and put up with and endure. And I'm glad to tell you today I'm where I want to be. I love you. I enjoyed this school so much last year. I couldn't wait to get back. We do go to a lot of schools, and I see a lot of teenagers. And I've got a lot of new freshmen. We're all
the fall and decline of the Roman Empire. Now, don't let all that frighten you. I'm going to try to boil it down into the simplest of terms so that when this message is finished, you'll know exactly what God's Word has to say about the future. They say there are three
ways. I had met Tibetan refugees, and it was the first time that I was aware of what had happened to the Tibetans. And they really were these otherworldly creatures. They seemed to...
Afraid we'll have to wait until we get to heaven to know who the real St. Patrick was. We know a little bit about him. We know a lot about him from his confessions.
Happy St.
and
Patrick's
from the letter
Day.
to Herodotus. And that's
This is a
really
video
the real
about
Christ.
St. Patrick.
A humble man in the sense that he believed that everything that he did was as a result of God calling him for this vocation. He was an instrument of God, an ambassador of Christ. And he was amazed himself at how much God did through him.
St. Patrick was born in Roman Britain during the last days of the Roman Empire, as order and authority fell into
In India, at the western end of the Himalayas, converging on this remote valley are pilgrims. They have crossed mountain passes of over 18,000 feet, the highest in the world.
to do that. The little Christian said, well, sir, you said if I could prove one verse.
was carried away into captivity and slavery in Ireland, with thousands of others. And it was what we deserved, because we had turned away from God. But even though I did not know the true God, He pitied my youth and ignorance and took compassion upon me in my humiliation. Through His great goodness,
Let me also say that there are always skeptics who say, these preachers, these prophetical men try to find something in the Bible to fit the headlines.
and thereby God opened my unbelieving heart.
I am the hill. Don't give the hill any trouble.
He's cute.
And friendly, too. Hey, Barney, let's play school now. We start every day with our flag song over there.
Don't throw anything. But I went to Lake Worth High School.
I think that the power of storms is kind of, in a sense, a humbling experience. It shows you that you are a human being and that there is someone a lot greater than you that has a lot more power than you. I think it makes you realize, too, that that you really do need to put control in your life into God, because obviously
Swim. That's a good poem when you live next to the lake. But she was brilliant. The woman was brilliant. She had A+ on her report card.
people just
I've seen such a thing as A+. I thought as hieroglyphical markings. And you don't even know what that is. That's the stuff Indians wrote with. Never mind. And I was in the top 10% of the lower 1/3 of my class. But I surprised the whole community of Lake Worth because I did finally graduate with honors. I knew several of them personally. They were nice kids. But when I did finally graduate, I was very privileged to have an opportunity to pursue my dream.
And swirls. There are several reasons why. First, the planet itself is spinning, which sets the air in motion. Different currents of air.
Now that you're a father, these memories are a gift you can give your children with a Panasonic Palmcorder camcorder. And unlike so many camcorders, Palmcorder tapes can play in any VHS VCR. So you can share your memories with your children or anyone. The Palmcorder. Its tapes play in your VCR from Panasonic.
Hey, how's your day shaping up? Is it a round day with lots of the usual stuff like
Of course, along the equatorial regions of the globe, and very
creative, harmonious form of a Mr. Sub-Sub?
For an education, it shoots you right down. Hey, when I was making more money as a student than the man was making as a president of the college, what good's a great education? You see what I mean? That's the way a kid would think. So I just worked all the more and studied all the less. My check went up, my grades went down. They dropped to a C- from a good, solid C. Now, there happened to be going on at that time.
Then southwest of Siberia is Tobolsk. Well, you say in the Bible it's Tobol, on the map it's Tobolsk. Why? Because the Russian suffix SK has been added to the ending of the word. And it may interest you to know that when the Bolsheviks marched into Russia...
And Tibet is a vast land. It is equal in size to Western Europe, or to Alaska and Texas combined. For millennia, it has remained remote and undisturbed behind the seemingly impenetrable walls of the Himalayan.
I'm kidding, of course. I took my physical exam. I was ecstatic. It was the only exam I passed the whole semester. I studied all night for the blood test. And they told me I was going to be inducted in the Army. And I got to thinking about this. Man, they're going to draft me, put me in the Army, send me to Vietnam. America, bury me, end of story. I'm not into guns, and I'm not into war, and I'm not into doggy bags.
Truly, I owe a great debt to God. For through me, he has redeemed.
Weeks turning into months, months becoming years. Tibetans believe that every living being has but one soul, and that this essence passes like a flame from one body to the next in the...
To what had been revealed to me, and what the Spirit was prompting in me. But God saw that I was ready, even though many were of this mission, saying,
Got the materials from the
man exposing himself to danger among enemies who do
good deeds of countless past lives, a soul attains enlightenment.
hordes are attacking Constantinople. Photius the emperor says, who are these northern barbarians? They seem to...
Highest ranking among the enlightened ones is the Dalai Lama. Tibetans believe he returns to the world out of compassion to help others toward enlightenment.
So that I might come to the Irish. And I am prepared to give my life freely in God's name.
Sins. You join the Navy, you don't go to Vietnam, you serve 4 years instead of 2 years because you joined instead of being drafted. Surely there's something to compensate.
Whirling of it, and it was making a lot of noise.
A typical
Because when you're through surfing, you might want to go for a swim. Subway, it's the way a sandwich should be.
Sun comes up again. Another day is here. You reach for Tropicana. Nothing can compare. Tropicana, nothing better. Let your spirit loose with a straw in the orange. The better taste and juice. Drink it out. Drink it in. Tastes great to you and me. With a straw in the orange and set your...
Nothing compares God's. Such are no gods.
Sir John A. MacDonald has just submitted a bill putting into action the establishment of a force to be known as the Northwest Mounted Police. Its immediate objective to proceed to Canada's northwest, suppress the liquor traffic, calm the growing unrest among the Indians who have long been...
But one final test awaits young Lamo Dundup. Among them, a few of the previous Dalai Lama's personal possessions. The boy selects these and none other.
All with a vow on their lips.
For the monks,
that
it is
law
as if
and
the Dalai
order
Lama
they
has simply
restore,
reached,
and on the border evermore.
The long search is over. Lamo Dundup is Gyatso and prepares to become the 14th Dalai Lama. The year is 1940. Lhasa, the capital...
Because right now you can get an Ace Ventura meal deal. It features a hot 6-inch Subway melt sub.
For all of us.
And all during school.
What can I say about it? Well, you know, we got the idea actually from all of the music shows, you know, all the music videos, and there's so much.
When I was 17, I was coming home during a storm that had a lot of
an explosive clap of thunder with sound waves that move through the air at 720 miles per hour.
When I was 17, I was coming home during a storm that had a lot of thunder and lightning, and as I was coming around the corner, my Volkswagen got hit by lightning. And at the time it happened, I knew it was happening because you're surrounded by white.
Signs containing the mortal remains of his 13 previous incarnations. The young Dalai Lama bears the weight of an age-old tradition on his slight shoulders. Constantly reminded of his place at the heart of Tibetan civilization, he is now the torchbearer of a religion stretching back 2,500 years. The origins of Buddhism take us back to the year 600 BC to the plains of northeast India. Here, an event occurred as momentous for Buddhists as the birth of Jesus Christ is for Christians. 2,500 years ago, an Indian prince sat beneath a sacred tree. He had spent many lifetimes in search of the truth and now vowed not to rise again until he had solved the mystery of existence. Immersed in deep meditation, he was to conquer all the dark forces of delusion. As Venus rose in the morning sky, he was rewarded for his age-long patience. Touching the ground, he called upon the
I thought this was going to be a show on sex.
Heard it all. There's no place like Oprah.
Rumors about Robert
Redford. This is to keep you from catching it. Oh, I don't need it, because I know a better way. He said, yeah, what's that? I said, keep your vows to your wife, boy. Ooh, can you imagine how that went over? I mean, I became instantaneously the enemy. Yes, sir, buddy. They turned on me like rabid dogs. They laughed at me, ridiculed me.
Thank God, you know, it started subsiding enough that we knew everything was getting better.
A hurricane is quite a different animal.
Druid said, this man who does this, if we allow him to go free, he will spread his religion throughout the land and it will remain forever.
Go out and apprehend that.
Straight from the hot, dusty plains of India into the Himalayan mountains where it would finally take root. Here, on the roof of the world.
Quivered the pig.
Someone's been eating my porridge.
Name's Paul Bunyan.
Who dares to clip-clop over my bridge? I'm a coyote.
Hurricane is also quite a large storm compared to, say, a thunderstorm. Thunderstorm is a couple of miles across.
Now McDonald's always has one extra value meal for $2.99. Might be this one, this one, this one, or to find out which extra value meal is $2.99.
Music.
Your local McDonald's, because if you want to...
Just turning it and twisting it, just like...
Not everybody is back off turkey lips.
Yo, how you doing?
Like I said, you don't...
We in the ship.
And here's the face-off. The crowd is up. Lohmeyer's got it.
Grasp on the limitations of one's own identity and one's ego. Which is
Quality rain. Not always, however, for on at least 4 occasions, Monsieur
Mail would have been the winner. So it is a lovely a picture of the meeting of Christianity, a new religion, with an old religion that had survived here in the Boyne Valley for...
The frightened animals scattered in all directions. There were great delays as the horses were rounded up from...
Even in our just daily expressions, all is impermanence. It's mitakpa. Comes and goes. Suffering is impermanence.
Filled with great storybook classics that come to life, such as the...
Wanted to. There weren't any abortions. There weren't any illegitimate children. I'm going to tell you what America really needs. You ready to hear this? America really needs one confirmed case of a pregnant teenage boy.
Are dwarfed by a power called a tornado.
As it approached, it looked like some...
I'm going to tell you what America really needs. You ready to hear this?
And they would just...
America really needs one confirmed case of a pregnant teenage boy. Whoa! Hey, wait. No, hold it.
What the hell is this guy talking about?
Macho man clapping.
And I was ready. That there were some tornadoes in our area, and so I was driving home. There's a little country road about 2 strip
all the time.
Surely you ought to be just as willing to accept responsibility for those exploits. Doesn't it sound good to have it? Oh.
The early saints of the Christian church in Ireland, they were a new embodiment of the Druids.
Me into that bright patch yonder.
Thus enabling Eastern Canadian pioneers from Quebec, Ontario, and the Maritimes to go west to build and develop the great Western communities.
Off a Sulphur Mountain, Paul explained.
The Indians who had met the force along the way had been treated well by the Mounties and learned to trust the men of the Northwest Mounted Police. And so it was in early 1877.
Certainly, if the Jews argued, is he as powerful as our loom that ripens the grain, he could have said, well, the miracle. He performed a miracle, and from 5 little barley loaves.
The Papa Bear let out a low, rumbling growl that shook all 3 beds. Goldilocks awoke and rubbed her eyes. She saw the 3 bears glare at her and she shrieked, "Bears!"
We'd like to leave you with one of the best love programs of all. Watch as a young boy's snowman magically comes to life in the Raymond
Born in...
For me, it's fresh taste.
Warm
Visiting.
from the ground.
You can't go in that room. He said, we're still trying to get his brains in his head. He said, Mr. Reaver, someone ought to be telling these kids drinking and driving isn't worth it. I wish I'd got to that kid a little earlier. I wish I'd...
Of the storm, which begins to draw air in from the underside of the storm. The residents of Tornado
Our little adventure into
for a 400
of exercise and a balanced diet, which may include Kellogg's Special K cereal. Low in fat, delicious light crispy flakes.
Speak when you see a low hang of accompanied by a downpour of
turned and in the...
See, you have to understand there's more to life than doing what feels good. Because down the way, you make the right investment now.
When the Buddha's message of love and compassion first reached Tibet. peaceful society that would evolve here.
There are hundreds and thousands of men ready to bear arms. In order to levy troops, they use a golden arrow. Their bow and their sword never leave them. They prize physical strength and despise old age. Military discipline is strict. In battle, it is not until the troops in front have been completely wiped out that the troops behind come up into line. They prize death in battle and hate to end their lives by sickness. As punishment, even for a small fault, they take out the eyes or cut off the feet or the nose. They give floggings with leather whips just as they see fit.
Life than they have, and yet take the most important decisions of their life on the basis of their advice. It doesn't make sense to me, but you're doing it.
It's very important.
Needless to say, the cape was as red as a blushing rose.
Updraft means it can support larger hail. Almost all of the very large hail, perhaps say larger than 2 inches in diameter, almost all of it is probably associated with rotating updrafts. And these updrafts may be going up as fast as 100 or 120 miles an hour or more in the storm. And essentially, a baseball-sized hailstone, the terminal velocity, or the velocity at which it falls at the same speed as the updraft going up, so that it...
That's what school's all about. Keep your options open.
So go for it. Stay in school. It's the best option play.
Thing is standing out in front of a major league fastball.
Updrafts spin into the cloud center and begins to darken as it picks up debris from the ground. Over land, tornadoes are invisible until they begin to pick up soil, becoming ominous black funnels. Over water, they appear as elegant water.
Take you, little bud, to Granny's with food to make her well. Take care you don't leave the path.
Come on out, your hands up. You know, they don't even do that in the movies. I picked the grenade up and drew it back to throw it, and it was right beside my head when suddenly it exploded. I was told two things later. One, that I'd been hit by a sniper's bullet, and the evidence leans that way. Another was it was a faulty grenade. The results are identical. Instantly, 40% of my skin was blown off of me.
Woodsman watched her go.
My flesh went up in smoke.
Well.
I went blind in my right eye. I went
deeper
here.
Red walked.
My chest was gone.
Marveling at the magnificent foliage and breathing in the cool, damp
fire,
air.
And that was bad enough for the pain you...
Down to the ground. Final stage.
High speed enhanced.
Completely. My thumb was blown off. I can't hitchhike in England. Left hand, forget it. My right hand was severed in half. I was pumping blood out of an open artery, and with every beat of my heart, I knew I was going to die. I just knew it. Then I noticed half my face laying right in front of me. I went blind in my right eye and deaf in my right ear, so this is all a hairpiece and a plastic ear. It comes off. I won't, but it does. A girl asked me once, she said, "How do you play the piano?" I said, "By ear." I took it and I played, "Mary had a little." Isn't that gross? Some of you are saying,
The Druids.
Hardships, to be sure, but every civilization has that. Inequities, to be sure, every civilization has that. But is it in a direction? You know, it was quite an extraordinary experiment that everyone was a part of. The experiment of Tibet, part of which was in the century. certain individual. And that the institutions of that civilization are there to foster more of those people.
Which Patrick preached, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they had already triple goddesses, like Bridget and Morrigan and all those. They were triple goddesses. So they had no problem at all with the Trinity. They had no problem at all with God becoming
No
incarnate.
problem at all. All right, so that is our halfway point, and yeah, I'm just gonna put it on this guy for a little bit. Let's talk about this guy. His name is Dave. They call him Davey. He is a beautiful specimen if I've ever seen one of a man. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get to a different shot here. Okay, yeah. How about that one? Yeah, okay. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. I know it's been a little bit. I think we went about 8 days, which is the longest we've ever gone between streams. So I apologize for that. Yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. We're trying to finish up some projects. We're trying to think about how we can move all this stuff and rewire it. Although I did fix that audio issue. It was a cable. A dirty damn cable. Can you believe that? All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that Canadian brass live. Here it is. Maybe I'll put a little bit more of that on. I'm just worried about the copyright, because the copyright could really screw me, you know what I'm saying? How do you like our upward angle? We got an upward angle of the buttons. There it is. Oh, yeah. Okay. And don't forget the overhead angle. Still there. I don't cut to it much. I should cut to it more. But, yeah. Things are pretty good. Working pretty good on this jam, I must say. So, thank you again for watching. And pretty soon, we may or may not be in another location. But until then, we will enjoy this spot. This spot right here. All right, I'm babbling at this point, so I'm just going to shut up. I'm just going to put the mic down and get back to the show. All right, okay. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is a analog glitch video experience. We got some channel surfing vibes. We got some glitch technology making glitches. We got some satellite internet lines putting out the broadcast. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Okay. All right. Back to the show.
Containing hundreds of thousands of invocations. Each revolution, a sort of Buddhist hail.
Now direct your attention to
is Mount Slemish in County Antrim. Modern historians tend to place his captivity on Ireland's west coast, possibly near the mountain named Croagh Patrick, where legend tells us that St. Patrick once spent 40 days and 40 nights in fasting and prayer.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, even though it was yesterday.
The Druids celebrated the festival of Lunasa on Croagh
That's
Patrick
okay.
on the 1st of August. Essentially the same day that modern Christian pilgrims now climb the mountain in commemoration of St. Patrick.
He was supposed to be in many places.
He was the 14th Dalai Lama, the new God King of Tibet. Unable to wander...
Way to die. I got hungry. I pulled the wrong tube. I grabbed lunch. And I'm glad, because if I'd pulled the right tube, I would have missed you. I would have missed the sweet love of my wife. And I would never have known the joy of being father of 2 kids. And even the doctors told me, they said, Dave, you'll never father children. Your chemicals are shot. Well, they weren't dead because I got 2 kids and they're mine, I can tell. They got plastic ears and everything.
The molars as he spoke.
One of my kids, my number 1 son, is standing right over there running that television camera. That's my...
What big teeth you have.
I love you, man.
That's his son on the camera. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad I pulled the wrong...
Take care of them as best we can.
We're putting in a network of 160 radars to be the weather radar input for all of the federal government, and that's 3 cabinet-level agencies. We're using the Doppler principle. It's been used in defense to try to detect missiles and airplanes for many years, and we're now using this technology to look see the airflow. For
4 of them also had cocaine in their blood.
Then, the village was hiking by.
Principle is you send out a pulse of energy, and a fraction of that reflects off of some target and comes back to the receiver. And the conventional radar knew only that, so it could tell you how much energy came back.
Got a little problem with the V-hold. That's called the V-hold. The vertical hold.
Their promise to protect Tibet from invasion.
He saw the familiar red cape appear deep inside the wolf.
It's capable of producing significant tornadoes.
The National Weather Service is going through a major modernization and restructuring. Began back in the late 80s.
If white is innocent and red is not, love's baby soft is somewhere in between. Meet me where the
Now, in essence, those daemons were the... came into him in the form of black birds. And they said he banished the daemons eventually by ringing the mass bell, the Clegian. And he...
Conditions that were in the environment and within the storm itself so that we could learn more about the way that the storms form, the way that they behave, and hopefully be able to relate that to the kind of observations we can make on a routine basis to help forecasting.
Spotting generally evolved out of protecting communities and keeping an eye out for communities. What I basically do is combine them. When I chase, I still perform the spotting function for the Weather Service or for sometimes for Oklahoma County Emergency Management, sometimes for whatever TV station. This is Newcastle, Texas, from the 28th of May, '94. Just after I got out of town and rounded this curve, here's this monster tornado hanging out of the backside of this storm. It was, you know, a pretty big tornado. It was the biggest tornado I'd seen it, you know, in my entire chase career at that point. I'm really not sure why or how that interest was formed, but it's been pervasive through my entire life.
The great mandala is now finished. For the 40,000 pilgrims here, there can be no greater privilege than viewing the Kalachakra mandala.
Which measures temperature, moisture, pressure, wind direction, and wind speed at various atmospheric levels as the balloon rises. Regardless of the source of the information, from advanced radar systems to people observing storms in the field, data is gathered on a worldwide basis and fed into today's supercomputers. Three-dimensional numerical models are created by the computers, with the goal of studying the destructive forces generated by severe storms. The computers are able to simulate the complex airflows that occur within thunderstorms, tornadoes, and hurricanes. In this example, warm, moist, low-level air approaches from the southeast and is propelled into the existing updraft. Cooler, drier air enters the storm at mid-level from the south and west, sinking to the bottom of the downdraft. In this simulation, colored particles are generated by the computer so that an observer can track the complex flow of air in a storm. Orange particles represent warm, moist air as it rises. Purple particles represent cool, dry air as it falls. Here, meteorologists are able to study the rotation of the winds in and around the storm. Weathercasters look for patterns that might give birth to tornadoes in America's Midwest. Hydrologists look for ways,
especially when I go, rah! I can't help it. I can't. It's fun to watch little kids scream and run into stuff. It's better than drugs. I get high, the little kid has a bad trip. Did you get it? One guy staring at me drove his car.
Randomly, then
Stopped hungry without breakfast, smelled the best.
The way I change lanes, I throw in the blinker, honk, and drift real slow. If I heard broken glass and screeching tires, I'd drift right back. I'm sitting there and this man's making a left turn. This man's making a left turn right in front of me. And he looked over and saw me one-eyed sitting there. And he ran right through the Dairy Queen. Humans and hamburgers, whatever. I felt terrible laughing so hard. I was about to laugh what was left of my head off. The light changed colors 3 times. The guy behind me changed colors 4 times. He's honking and waving. I knew if I didn't leave, he was going to come hit me. So I took off. I looked up, man.
Why, this is just right.
It will be very, very difficult.
Left that bowl
If we model the atmosphere, absolutely
was full as a tick and needed a place to sit down.
problems.
I thought I'm going to tell him, Whiplash, look what you did to my face. I'm going to sue you, man.
There is error in that. So that predictability is something that's going to be a very, very difficult thing to achieve long term.
Isn't it reassuring, though, or at least that men always have only a limited grasp of the details of the grand design of God's creation?
Inside the cushion. Who?
And I'd give them away to other people.
At last, she tried the chair that wasn't big at all. Why, this is just right. She smiled, leaning back in the little chair. Now, Goldilocks was way too big for that chair. Leaning back.
Right at the moment, the knowledge of what actually happened to Tibet, our Tibetan version of the Holocaust, is extremely imprecise. It's not unlike the Nazis, the information we have on what happened to the Jews, all the death camps. Be open and studied.
Down from the ceiling. My legs were shackled for over a year. There was no food in my stomach. I had fallen unconscious from time to time. Some inmates told me that they even felt tempted to eat their own excrement. Such was the hunger in the prison. Now I am old. When I went into prison, I was just 25. When I came out, I was an old woman. I have spent my life in prison.
I said, can we talk? I said, you meet me tonight at 7:30, and we set up an appointment. Over a cup of coffee that evening, pervert number one and preacher man relived a few memories. And something beautiful happened in his life. Because today, pervert number one.
The numbers are very inexact numbers. They quote 1.2 million people. But the extent of massacre of the killing is a colossal one.
All right.
The Tibetan nation experienced
I'm going to ask
most
Mickey just to give you
destructive
1 or 2, 3 minutes here of his heart and let you
However,
know what a great guy
today,
came back from that war. I'm going to tell you something. You're looking at two men who are proud they served their country. Mickey, give them a word of greeting.
We know that there's a lot of people out there today that they just don't think people love them. They think no one out there cares about me. And if there's anything that, along with Dave, that I would like to present to you is that please don't leave this high school auditorium believing that no one loves me. Because we love you. That's why we're here. And you've got two guys that think you're really, really special. And I think Dave Reaver is really special. Thank you, partner.
God bless you, Mickey. Thank you, partner. Mickey Block. Well done, Mick. Thanks, pal.
She saw the quilt all crumpled up on a bed, which was sort of big, but not as tall as Papa.
I'm quite sure we can on Tibetan freedom. Some kind of
Thumb. It took another year to figure out what an octave was.
Long witnessed the imprint of God's power in the natural world. King David describes a storm that twisted the oaks and stripped the forest bare. Solomon, a great naturalist of the Old Testament, observed that the wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning to its course. These are the enduring images we can conjure when we consider and when we experience, as did David and Solomon, the power of the awesome forces of God's creation.
As well, that they were bad to tell them.
Called He Looked Beyond My Faults and Saw My Needs. So you may know the tune by a variety of histories or titles, but either way, I hope you enjoy my rendition of this great old song. And just remember, young people, what Mickey said, that when you can forgive those who've hurt you, some of you, I'm not stupid, man. I know some of you in this room have been hurt by other people. Just remember, you don't get anywhere in life with bitterness and hatred and anger. You learn to forgive and you learn to forget, and you get on with your life without bitterness. I hope you've enjoyed the assembly today. I couldn't have been in a better school than Boswell High School in Fort Worth, Texas. I love you.
Cheers.
with Fred coming in second, playing that same melody, so that Gene's second imitation or third entry will match now not only Ronnie, who has started, but of course Fred. When the entire rest of the group comes in with that same melody, me of course, leading up to one of the finest endings of any of Bach's music.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
And yellow, it makes green.
Chevy Blazer with driver control system, a little security in an insecure world.
This fall, The X-Files returns to Global.
You don't believe it, Chuck?
No. You know me, right up my twisted little alley.
And since we left you summer long,
I need answers from you.
you'll want to find a way.
Scully, that artifact is extraterrestrial.
Mulder, it can't be.
To see what happens when we begin a new season of The X-Files.
Close your eyes and say, I wish my school friends were here right now.
Something.
It's where
lights dance on rides where you believe you could fly. To a sea of good time. Sunny sky. It's the place bursting with excitement, style, and pride, no matter what old man Winter does outside. And there's only one place it can all happen for you, and that's the magical
She suggested we play some of the music for her over the telephone, which we did. And then she said, well, at that moment when the music is playing there, everybody on stage is doing this motion, and we played a little more for her over the phone, and she said, well, at that moment everybody is doing this. And well, from her very lucid descriptions, we have reconstructed the original choreography.
Becoming increasingly complex. Often the solutions to these and other problems involve more sophisticated coating materials.
And white knights.
The sound that you hear makes you duck. My friend, it's no joke. Your windshield is broken, so I called Hub City Glass. Hub City Glass. The auto.
All right. I think that will do it for today's session. How did you like that one? Yeah, we had lots of variety, lots of different tapes, and not too many issues, which is nice. Yeah, but anyways, we are approaching supper time, so I should really end this and get back to civilization. This was fun, though. That last little bit there was discover Russia. I didn't want to overdo it because this is a National Geographic, and I'm pretty sure that will get flagged. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show. Come back next time. Maybe we'll be in a different spot. Maybe not. You never know. But, yeah, I'm going to end it there. Thanks again. We're going to go to purple, actually. If we can get there, yeah. Let's see here.